Listo.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. Finally, it's Friday. Well, welcome to our third session of this writing essay workshop. Today, we're going to talk about supplemental essays. The dynamic of today's session is going to be a little bit different from the previous two that we have had. During this session, first, we're going to be talking about supplemental essays. Each one of us, each one of the team of the writing for grad students advisors from Education USA are gonna talk about specific type of essay from these supplemental essays. And after that, we are all going to have a little bit of time and we're going to divide you in different breakout rooms, okay? In those breakout rooms, you're going to be with the advisor, your support advisor for these essays, okay? There, we're going to be able to answer all of the questions that you may have about the sessions that we have had. If you already started to draft your essay, we can start talking about that and the questions that you may have about the things that you have done. And well, obviously about today's session. If you prefer today's session, we can address your questions when we finish with this presentation, and then we go to the breakout rooms to talk about all of the other questions you may have from the previous sessions or for the things that you're doing for your essays, okay? So, well, having said this, let me tell you that today we're going to be here with Ramiro Nava and Alejandro Garcia and Mabel Martinez. We are all going to be here today to help you with this essays, okay? So let's start. So as I already mentioned, we're going to be talking today about supplemental essays. But before we start with this, with supplemental essays, before telling you what are these and when are we going to be using them, can you please tell me what are the other two types of essays that we have talked about on the previous two sessions? Just open your microphones and you can answer the question.
Statement of purpose and personal statement.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Can you please tell me, any of you, something that you remember that is characteristic from the personal statement and another thing that is characteristic for the statement of purpose?
The statement of purpose is about what we seek, what we want, and how our wants suit the program that we have chosen. And from the personal statement is a unique, what shows more interest in their program and not as much showing what you want.
Okay, good. Somebody else that wants to add something? Thank you, Max. Well, we have already delivered a lot of information about the personal statement and the statement of purpose, okay? You already know how we're going to be dividing these different paragraphs on each one of the essays. The structure, most of the time, it's going to be the same, okay? Today, we're going to talk about supplemental essays. You already know that essays are, in general, a very important part of the admission process to different universities, okay? They are a good opportunity for us to tell what we are, where we come from, and, well, to give the admissions committee a different perspective from ourselves, okay? So, supplemental essays come here, well, arrive to the institutions, and year by year, they are being taken into more consideration, okay? Nowadays, I think all of the institutions have different type of supplemental essays, which you can find in different, to cover different areas of the admission process, okay? So these are extra essays from the personal statement, from the statement of purpose, Those are like the basic, and this supplemental come to cover other stuff that maybe you didn't cover on those previous two general essays. Most of the time, these ones are shorter. Most of the time, that doesn't mean that they cannot be a common essay about 600, 700 words, okay? Most of the time, they are smaller, they are shorter in length, and they can have different characteristics, okay? And well, the main purpose, as I already mentioned, is to give extra information. So you are already giving information in your CV. You are already giving information in your transcripts, in your personal statement, your study objectives. Then what is not said, it's going to be said on the supplemental essay. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, the form of these essays can vary, okay? And the topics that they cover, they also vary depending on the institution, okay? Today, this session is going to be focused on the history statement, on the leadership statement, and the diversity statement, okay? We're going to go deeper on those three, because most of the time, well, in our experience, we noticed that most of the time, all of the topics relate to these three type of essays. Sometimes they are required if you are asking for financial aid or for a specific assistantship or a fellowship, and they have some specific types of assistantships, scholarships, fellowships. And one of the things that you have to cover in order to apply to them is to write a supplemental essay, okay? So you need to look into the financial aid section of the universities and check if they are requiring one of these supplemental essays in order to ask or in order to apply for the financial aid that they are offering. So you need to pay attention to that part. As I already mentioned, they come in different types, different shapes, okay? They are different from the personal and the study objectives, because in this case, maybe they are asking just for a small paragraph. Maybe they are just giving you a question, and then the question can be answered in just one paragraph, and that's all that you have to send. Sometimes they even ask for a top 10 list, okay? I don't know, maybe your top 10 heroes, your top 10 goals in life, things like that. So what are you going to do with this type of essays? You need to pay attention to the instruction. If they are asking for a top 10 and why, then that means that you have to write down your list, bullet points maybe. So you can write a bullet point, and then under it, you can write the reason why you are taking that into first place, and all of your reasons there. Then number 2, your reasons. Number 3, your reasons. If they are just asking for the list, then just send the list. If they are giving you a question, you answer the question, and that's it. But sometimes if they want to go deeper into the knowledge that they can get about you, these can become another 600 words essay, okay? So you need to pay attention to the instruction that you're having when you find that these essays are being asked. Another very important thing that you have to notice is that sometimes they are listed as optional. Okay, so you have there the option to answer a question. You have there the option to upload a leadership statement or a diversity statement. So if you have that option and you notice that you haven't covered all of the things and all of the different skills and characteristics that you have on the statement of purpose, for example, or on your CV, or on the papers that you are already sending, take this opportunity. You have the opportunity there, take it. Take it, start to write down, start to draft, and at the end, send this supplemental essay, because that's gonna be an extra opportunity for you to get into the institution, okay? So even though they're optional, please take the opportunity if you think you have more to say. Okay, on the next slide, we can see that we have some general tips for these supplemental essays. It's very important. If you have there a prompt or a question, make sure that you are answering the question, okay? Sometimes we get lost on the things that we want to say. Pay attention to the supplemental essay. Pay attention to what they want to know about you, because the prompt or the question is going to be focused on that. So then read your answer and make sure that you are really answering that question, okay? Start with an outline. It is going to be very important that even though it's optional or it's a supplement, you need to start drafting what you want to say. You need to check that you really that you are really satisfied with the information that you're providing on this extra essay. It's going to be very important that you do not repeat yourself. What does that mean? If you are already mentioning in your CV the activities that you have to perform in a specific position, if you already mentioned there, and you are not going to give extra information about those activities, then don't repeat that, okay? If you already mentioned in your statement of purpose, what is your main goal? What's the main project that you want to cover once that you finish with your degree? Then don't talk about it again in here. You can mention it, but don't go deep in that because you already went deep in another essay, okay? Narrow your focus. You need to, that's why it's important to start with an outline. That's why it's important the drafting, because that's gonna help you to keep your focus and to be concise on that part. And the most important, maintain your voice. Supplemental essays are the best opportunity for you to show the way that you are, okay? So obviously we need to take into consideration that this is an academic essay that you're sending it for admission. So the way that you write is gonna be taken into consideration, but you can also take that in your favor and show who you are and how you like to express yourself in these kind of essays, okay? So maintain your voice. That's important because that's gonna make you different from other students, from other people that want to get into, okay? So on the next one, it's very something that I always tell you, or that I want to emphasize about to all of the different advices, is that the supplemental essays and general essays, they are very important for the admission process, but that doesn't mean that they are complicated, okay? You need to dedicate some time, but that doesn't mean it has to be complicated, okay? So here we're going to take an example of an essay that was written as a supplemental one for Tufts University, okay? The prompt that they have says, let your life speak, describe the environment in which you were raised, your family, home, neighborhood, or community, and how it influenced the person you are today. And they are giving you a specific number of words, says 200 to 250. That means it's about a paragraph, a little bit more than a paragraph. Tell me, guys, do you consider that that will be enough to talk about or to answer this kind of prompt? 200 words will be enough? What do you think?
Just that small paragraph?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Describe the environment, your family, home, neighborhood, or community. Okay.
If we talk about that and we actually extend on it, I think it will be enough.
Okay, yeah. So first, you need to pay attention to the instruction. Describe the environment in which you were raised. And then they give you options there, your family, home, neighborhood, or community. So you can focus on either of those, okay? It is your choice. So you also have to state there how it influenced who you are today, okay? So having this into consideration, you can come up with an answer, okay? So in here, we have an example, something that was answered by a student that was applying for the 2021 class. Let's go to the next slide, please. And here on this next slide, you can see the answer. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes for you to read this. Just raise your hand once that you're ready. Okay, great. So my first question will be, is this the type of answer that you were expecting?
Maybe not.
Why?
Well, I think I expected something more of a narrative story about their past or their neighborhood, where they grew up, rather than a narrative driven towards how it changed them into applying to, I'm guessing, a robotics program or something related to robotics. I expected something more of a story rather than a, I don't know, narrative driven small essay, I would say.
Mm-hmm. But remember, this is a supplement essay,
Yeah.
okay? So it's very probable that all of the things you are mentioning were already covered in another essay, okay? Somebody else, what do you think? Do you think this student took into consideration the different aspects that he could focus on? Can we please go to the previous slide? Look, describe the environment in which you were raised. Was this covered, yes or no?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Okay. And then he had options: family, home, neighborhood, or community. What was the focus?
Family and home.
Mm-hmm. It didn't have to cover the whole thing, okay? And then it says, and how it influenced the person you are today. Was it covered? Can we go to the next slide? Was that covered?
Yes, it was covered.
Yeah. So look at this very small paragraph. It covered two of the things that were the options there. It is already telling us who this student is. You can see how his family was in just few words. You can notice that the parents were always there, taking paying attention to what was he doing, giving him some freedom, but at the same time taking care of the person. Okay, and then the most important, look at the conclusion of his supplemental essay. It says, as a programmer, I need to be able to communicate with my builders. Compress time. If I don't interview them properly, our robot will invariably end up as a hunk of unresponsive aluminum. So what does that mean? He's linking all of the things that he could remember from home, the questions that he was asked all of the time, and he now knows that it's important to ask the proper questions in order to get what he wants at the end. He's talking also about the importance of teamwork, and he's given the recognition, he's given the recognition to his parents also to help him become who he is today without being that dramatic and that deep, just with few words. So can you imagine the personality of this student when
Yes,
reading this? You see?
it seems
So-
like he's a very chill guy, like very relaxing. And I don't know if it happens for others, but I guess I'm just like expecting to read a sad story or something tragic. And that's why I'm like, okay, you know, like this didn't seem so attractive to me, but I understand that, you know, he hasn't had it bad at all and that he can say that. So, yeah.
So can you see now what it means to maintain your voice? Okay, so that's something important. You have to be, you have to show the uniqueness in yourselves without trying to cover using things that maybe most of the time you're not going to be using. Let me tell you what, this is an example that you can find at the Tufts University website. And it also comes with the impression of the Dean of Admissions of the university. And he said, this is a great essay because in just 250 words, it shows rather than tells who Ryan is. It shows rather than tells. And it says who Ryan is and the things that matter to him. It gives us a sense of his family life and academic interests because those are mentioned there. And it even shows us he has a sense of humor. As an admissions committee, we learn a lot about Ryan in just one paragraph, okay? So the Dean of Admissions is describing this essay as a great essay because it's showing different aspects of Ryan, and in just one paragraph, they could see family, academic interests, and personality, okay? So now they know that he most very probably is not the person that is just studying, that is just stuck into the books and the library, things like that, okay? So this gave extra information about him, and it also helped him to got into the university because it showed more aspects that were not shown anywhere else, okay? So, well, I hope this example helps. This helps to understand better what's a supplemental essay. So let's go deeper into the three different type of essays that we are going to cover today. Okay, so I leave the floor to Ramiro and I'll come back later.
Thank you, Edith. Well, now we'll be talking about the personal history statement. So what is it? What is a personal history statement? Well, it is an essay that offers a supplemental essay that offers a detailed description of a person's life. Remember this word, person's life history. That's what we are going to cover in this supplemental essay. This essay will allow you guys to focus on your life journey, starting from your earliest memories, your earliest experiences, your earliest events, or some influences that have shaped who you are today. Please, as Edith mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, do not get confused with the personal statement or with the statement of purpose. Why do I say this? Because, for example, the personal statement will cover only the recent years that have shaped your aspirations, your future goals and motivations to showcase your suitability for a particular program. And the personal history statement places more emphasis on past experiences, on events or milestones that have shaped your identity or your personal development. The personal history statement needs to include your life journey, starting from your earliest memories and highlight the factors that have influenced or inspired who you are today. So in summary, a personal statement focuses more on future goals and aspirations, while a personal history statements, the statement, I'm sorry, delves into the past and provides a narrative of your life experiences. Okay, so far so good. Thumbs up if you understood. Perfect. Perfect. So let's go to the next slide. So what makes a good personal history statement? Well, I consider some points that they are not on the screen, but I will mention them. So please pay attention to all of them, and remember that not all of the points that I'm going to share with you needs to be addressed or should be addressed to your essay. They are just a recommendation or a guide for you to develop a better narrative. Okay, so the first point that I would recommend you is authenticity. And when we are talking about authenticity, I'm talking about that your personal statement should reflect on your personality. It should be honest, sincere, and true to your own experiences and beliefs. What I recommend you is to try to avoid exaggerations. It's not recommended. And let's take a closer look to the examples I sent you yesterday. I hope you read them all, and I will start with the second example, which is a personal history statement that is discussing the student's early life experiences and how the student shaped his desire and to help others, and how those things align with what he's looking for. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I am going to share with you another resource. So just give me a minute. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Here it is. Here it is, the personal statement number 2. So I'm going to ask someone to read this paragraph. Maybe if you want to raise your hand, or if you want me to choose someone, I will be more than glad. Who wants to read it? Ivana, go ahead.
The first paragraph, right?
Yes, just the first.
Okay. My initial years during childhood landed me in situations which eventually nurtured my character to help others. My parents divorced when I was 8, and I suffered miserably during my preteen years. I had to guardian 3 younger sisters by the time I was 15. I experienced strange living arrangements at distant relatives' houses and motels all this time. Until my father gained back custody, we were placed in foster care. There was a kind of helplessness that shaped my personality from inside. All these years, I felt an innate driving force inside me that motivated me to stand by people who need help while propelling myself to my professional goals.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that the student is honest? Is the student sincere in this first paragraph?
Well, something got my attention, and then when he says, I suffered miserably during my preteen.
Ivana, I stopped hearing your voice. Okay, does anyone else want to share something?
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead,
uh,
Mauricio.
for me, it seems that it was pretty honest because it was extremely detailed, so it is coherent, the whole story. And in my view, yes, it is authentic.
That's perfect. Juanma, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was really direct, and I think a bit raw, but it was honest for me.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Well, so if you notice, this first paragraph of the personal history statement reflects the student's personality and appears to be honest. The student is sincere and true to his own experiences and beliefs. He describes his challenging childhood, includes like his parents' divorce, his responsibility for his younger sisters. The statement the student is making conveys on how it shaped his character. And if you see, he's also addressing in a way that he would love to help others while pursuing his professional goals. And it would, if you pay more attention to his personal history statement, he seems to reflect his authentic experiences and motivations. So he summarizes everything in the first paragraph. So then the whole main body that's here makes the story understandable. And I'm not going to take a lot of time reading every paragraph. This is just an example of how the student captivates us from the very first line. So that takes me to the next point. If you read this example, the number 2, you will find that the student is very coherent and well structured. He had like a logical flow. He made the personal history statement easy for the reader to follow the narrative, and he ensured a smooth transition between different aspects of his personal history. And why do I say that? Because he made some like explorations of various paths and extracurricular activities during his undergraduate years that you will see like probably right here. Right here, I think it was right here. And yes, he's stated relevant and very focused on key events, milestones, and experiences that he had a significant impact on his growth and development. So that's what this specific supplemental essay is looking for. He was also very vivid with his descriptions, and he could like summarize them, like summarize this essay with connection to his future goals and future aspirations. So he basically explained everything that has influenced him and the opportunities that he is pursuing. So long story short, I recommend you to, if you are asked to write your personal history statement, stay with authenticity, be coherent and well structured. Focus like on key events like milestones or some experiences that have had a significant impact on your personal growth, and be very reflective. That's something that we don't usually do, but like try to reflect on those events that have shaped your values, your goals, and perspectives, and connect them with your personal history to your future aspirations. Try to emphasize the positive impact you have made on yourself and others as well. And that is what makes a good personal history statement. Okay, so far so good. Perfect. So I'm going to go to the next slide. So in order to get to these points, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop sharing. I forgot
I
that.
have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like, I understand we all come from different backgrounds, but like, what is the middle point of not sounding too exaggerated with our childhoods or our backgrounds? Like, for me, I could be telling you real things that have been happening in my life, but what if they read it and say, okay, yeah, she's exaggerating? Like, what do we do there? How can we stay objective?
Well, we all have so many like things that have happened to us that make us who we are now. And in order for you to not for you to not exaggerate, for example, when I was young, I felt like I was lacking confidence to communicate with others. That's something that really impacted in my life because I was unable to relate with others. And what I can tell in my personal history statement that is that maybe doing some sports and trying to give some advices to my other I'm sorry, I'm gonna put this into different words. For example, just imagine like trying to make myself to can everybody help me? Edith, can you help me? Like to make this more clear. I don't have I don't understand. I mean, I don't find any like a good example.
Look, I'm not going to use an example, but something that helps a lot to not sound that exaggerate. It's to state what was the situation or what was the specific the specific problem to call it in a way, and then focus not on the drama but on the outcomes. Okay, and I think that's something that Ramiro is going to mention. Okay, that was the bad situation. That was something in your background that tailored who you are today. What happened? Okay, don't focus a lot on the negativity of it. Focus instead on the skills that you acquired, on how it helped you to what helped you to overcome the situation, and then how you manage it, how you manage that situation. That way, you're like turning the perspective, and that's going to help you.
And if I can add something to that, Edith, as Edith and Ramiro just said, it's about the new perspectives that specific situation gives you. And with that perspective, what are you going to do within the university? What are you going to contribute to the university? So think about that. And yes, please follow Edith's advice of not focusing on the drama, because we tend to exaggerate when we write the essays in that part. I have read a lot of essays that start, I was very, very poor, and that it's okay. But when you try to put it like sounds in a pity way, it's not going to help you. It's going to help you. What did you do out of that situation?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mabel and Edith, for that those examples. So, well, guys, Edgar, do you have a question?
Yeah, hi, sorry. I just had a question regarding the how to avoid being repetitive on the subject of previous experiences. For example, some that you may address during the personal statement. I just, I read the essay, the second one, and I thought it might be a little bit repetitive because some of the examples and experiences that he addressed during the essay might just be part of his personal statement. So I'm just a little bit confused on that part, on how to avoid to be repetitive in that previous experiences.
Just remember that you're talking about yourself. There are some things that may be repetitive, but the context is different. Here you need to explain a little bit more about your history, everything that involves yourself since the very first stages to who you are now, all the things that have shaped who you are. The difference between with the personal statement is that it involves recent activities or recent years activities that narrates what you're pursuing. But the difference, I be like answering your question. Am I answering your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sure.
just
It
keep
may be
them
in my practice
separate.
right now.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
well,
you.
in order, guys, for us to get to the points that we already talked about, I have that I have just mentioned, and Edith, and of course, Mabel. There are some important questions that you might consider important before you start writing your personal history statement. Uh, Here you have the questions. Um, and for example, the first one, have I considered the institution to which I'm submitting my personal history statement? This question encourages you to adapt your statement to the institution to you're applying to. It prompts you to research and understand the values, the mission and goals of the institution, and how through your history they align with the things that you need to demonstrate for you to be a good fit, and how they align with the values of the institution you're applying to. Okay. And then we have another question, which is what specific aspects of my life do I want to highlight or focus on? This question helps you to identify some key points or some key events or experiences or aspects of your life that had impacted on you, on your personal growth and development. That's what this question is looking for. So try to think about those things, and you will be able to have more more a better way for you to express of yourself. So the next question is, what challenges or obstacles have I overcome on and how have they influenced me? Here, try to reflect on the challenges or obstacles that you have encountered in your life and how you overcome them, like experiences on your character, uh, resilience, problem solving skills, and or personal values. And the next question is, what are my core values and how they guided my actions and decisions? Well, here you are asked to reflect on how your actions or your decisions or your priorities have shaped you throughout your history. Yeah. And another question is, what are my goals and aspirations, and how does my personal history relate to them? I hear you need to explain how experiences and lessons learned from your personal history have influenced and contribute to your current goals, and try to highlight your relevant and your relevant past experiences to your future plans. Okay. And the other question is, what overall tone or style do I want to adopt in my writing to effectively convey my story? So here it is just the style of writing that will effectively use for your personal history statement. So take into consideration the examples I sent you. There are more online, but those are the ones that we recommend you to read, and try to adopt adapt, I'm sorry, yours with that reflective or that inspiring storytelling, and try to be very cohesive, be very broad, and explain from the very beginning to the end of your story. Okay. Then we're going to see the aspects to effectively write the personal history statement. Well, this slide is actually a summary of what we have talked about before. But we really need to take into consideration some other important things that that when we are writing our personal history statement need to be addressed. For example, like the theme, the font, spacing, margin, length, formatting. That is not something that we really need to care about that much at the beginning. But as soon as you finish your writing your essay, take the time to proofread it and check all the requirements institution asks you before submitting your personal history statement. Okay. And now we will delve into the introduction. As all essays, or as all supplemental essays, you should begin with a very compelling hook or an introduction that that is intriguing your story or that grabs the reader attention. And in this specific document, I'm talking the personal statement, we're looking for a compelling hook about your powerful statement that relates your personal history. Also, you can clearly state the purpose or the objective your personal statement is looking for. Your personal history statement is looking for. So try to explain what aim you want to achieve or convey through your narrative. This will help the reader understand the focus and the direction of your statement from the very beginning. Another thing is to use language that is clear, concise, and very reflective of your unique voice. Try to, like we said, about excessive details or unnecessary background information. And finally, try to make your personal statement, and I'm talking about the introduction, very smoothly, or to make a smoothly transition from the introduction to the main body of your statement. So use transitional phrases or sentences that can guide the reader seamlessly into the subsequent sections where you will delve deep into your personal history. So in this part, we are going to talk about the main body of your personal history statement. It is really important to organize your thoughts in a logical and comprehensive manner. If you give a comprehensive introduction of what we as readers are going to explore and expect from you, in this specific part of the main body, it is important to find details, examples, and things to support your points that you talked from the beginning and bring them into your personal history life. Try to link everything, like your goals, aspirations, and find to balance them between them and provide try to provide sufficient details. And that's what I recommend you to do in the main body. Okay. And here, guys, and the next slide, we are going to like summarize the points of the to summarize your main points. When we're talking about the conclusion, we're talking about that we need to reaffirm your objectives. We are going to reflect on your personal growth. We're going to connect to the admission. We need to connect with the admissions committee and explain them how this personal history aligns with their values, their mission, or other specific offerings, and try to end your personal history statement with memorable statement and thought-provoking reflection. And what I recommend you not to do is to make an introduction or try to add new information at the very end that it's unresolved, and that will make the admissions committee have unresolved questions in your conclusion. So before finishing your personal history statement, try not to add those things at the end. Before we finish, we're going to see again the example number 2. I'm going to stop sharing the screen again. I'm not going to take much time. I'm just going to share it again. Sorry. Here it is. We're going to read the last paragraph. Who wants to help me? Okay, Teresa, go ahead.
Okay. It was during the time I stayed under foster care that my ambition to serve the public sprouted. However, this passion kept igniting my career decisions and ultimately culminated itself at the university level. Eventually, I looked forward for a berth at the Goldman School of Public Policy at UC Berkeley. With my experience and determination, I am confident to succeed. Besides, I have demonstrated my leadership skills at the graduate level. In the coming years, I wish to mature further and embrace a lifelong career to serve the people around me for their betterment.
Okay. Do you think that he is making a good conclusion of his personal history essay? Do you think that is he summarizing? Did you read the personal history statement number 2? Okay, I think we lost her.
Oh, I thought you were asking in general, not only for
No,
only to
no,
me.
I'm
Okay, yeah.
I'm asking you.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think he sounds very confident, so that's good. I mean, he's saying, you know, he mentioned his issues, his problems that he grew up with, but how they actually transformed into goals that he wants to achieve.
That's right. Because when you see, well, this is for everybody. When the essay concludes, you see that he is expressing ambition to attend the Goldman School of Public Policy at UC Berkeley. He highlights his leadership skills and determination. He talks about his commitment to serving the public and seeking like a lifelong career dedicated to betterment of others. But the most important thing here is that he's connecting some things from his past and he connecting them to the person he is now and what he has to offer. And that is what makes this personal history statement interesting and even memorable from many of you. So up to here, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So for example, we've been now seeing the different type of essays and different type of things we need to write. But my main question is here. For example, the universities I've been investigating, not all of them ask for a personal statement or a personal history, anything like that. Just like your the first one we saw, our purpose, why we want to go to the university. But I also understand that we want to not sell ourselves, but we want to also mention the need that we have for a scholarship or for further financial aid, right? But when they don't ask about our personal stuff, about our backgrounds, about our history, is it okay if we try to wiggle it in there, like just a very minimum comment, or, you know, setting a small example of what we lived through? That's like my main concern, because my programs only ask for why I want to study that. But I don't know if it would be seen incorrect if I mention stuff about my childhood or about my background, which is really important for me.
Well, just remember that every school has their own alignments, and they have some like prompts that you need to resolve and talk or express through your writing. So what I really recommend you first is to read what the prompt is, and if those things that are really important for you can be added, do it. But if they don't do it. Every essay has their own purpose, but just remember that if they're asking you for a personal statement, you should be referred with all of the instructions that they're giving you. Or if you're writing a statement of purpose, it's a completely different essay, and you need to focus on those things that they are asking you. And if they're asking you for your personality or your leadership or anything like that, try to relate more in the information that we're giving you in this specific presentation. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, just so for example, let's say that they ask for a statement purpose, right? They're asking us why we want to study that. How would we dare mention that we're, maybe I have the wrong idea, but how do we mention there of our needs and desires for scholarships?
I think I can jump in a little bit here, Ramiro. Teresa, let's try to think what other documents the university require. Usually, when you open up the application, there will be other questions that are not implied in the general requirements on the web page. So they will ask you, for example, are you a first generation student? Are you asking for financial support? Do you need financial support? So that's why, as Ramiro mentioned, depending the prompts of each university, you should focus on first answer the question on the prompt. But if there is something that you need to mention, you can do it in your essay. That's the purpose of the essay, that the committee knows. But don't think that is the only, is the only document where you can express yourself. But if they don't ask that question, it's probably because on the other part of the application, they're gonna ask you for that specific information. Other parts of the process require interviews and so on. So don't rush right now into try to cover everything on the essay. At this moment, you are going to work in general essays. Once you go with your main advisor, you're gonna write a specific essay for the university that you want. So you can start also doing some tailor centers or tailor content for that university. But if it's something that you think it's extremely relevant, you can include it from the beginning, but just make sure that you first answer the question the university is asking you, because there is a reason why the university puts that. But definitely you can include it. Don't be afraid of mix up a little bit different type of essay if the situation requires it.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much.
And well, that's it for the personal history statement. Now we are going to talk about a little bit more about the leadership essay. So Alejandro, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ramiro, and thank you, opportunity grantees, to be here with you. My name is Alejandro Garcia. I'm an Education USA advisor, and I'm based at the Secretary of Education in Sonora State. Please, next, Ramiro, please. Thank you. Perfect. First of all, you need to know that the leadership is a quality that makes a person special than others. First, you are an opportunity grantee. You are a different than other international students. Now, not all people have leadership skills. You need to know about it. But a leader has many great skills and qualities that makes him popular in the society. Remember that a good leader must have some leadership qualities, like a good leader is always brave, punctual, hardworking, fluid, wise, and flexible. Now, I need one advice that share with us one skill or one communication skill or a leadership skill that demonstrate in your bachelor studies or in your organization with your society. Oh, Mauricio, perfect. Mauricio, can you share some experiences about the leadership skills or communication skill as your bachelor studies?
Sure, Alejandro. One of the main skills that somehow showcase leadership was when you become part of the alumni or when you become the alumni president. in order to fight for the whole alumni and the whole students' rights.
Perfect. Thank you, Mauricio. And next slide, Ramiro, please. Now, what is a good leadership essay? Remember, a good leadership essay is the one of which the essay writer has fully covered the topic of leadership and understood its core ideas. More specifically, to end up with the flawless leadership essay, you will need to indicate what makes a person a good leader. For achieving the leader, you will most likely need to conduct the research and trace how that particular person reached his or her goals. In other words, the task is to discover which actions the person undertakes that their followers say about him or her and how the person organized the work. This is some ideas about how you can write, how you can start your leadership essay. Next, please, Ramiro. Now, how to write a leadership essay. Remember that these kind of essay are a supplemental. Like Edith saw, like Mabel saw, like Ramiro saw, it's so important pay attention about the requirements that the U.S. higher education or your university or your college of graduate studies require for your admissions process. In the case that we part on a leadership essays, it's so important pay attention to write a leadership essay that stands out. You first need to brainstorm all your ideas that you have and come up with your topic for your essay. And if you're struggling with this step, you may think some of the most influential people, breathe out them and find out what makes that unique. What are your wow aspect, your wow personality about the leadership skills or the communication, the skills that makes you the unique person to resolve different kind of problematics or issues in your society, specifically in your bachelor's studies, in your organization, with your family, or with your group of friends. That is so important. Next slide, please. Now, like all of essays, you have three essential sections like introductions, body paragraph, and conclusion. In your introduction, it's so important that your introduction will always be depending of the topic of the essay. However, you can always begin your standing your vision of leadership regardless of the topic. Sometimes the U.S. higher education or the College of Graduate Studies require that you resolve an issue or resolve a problematic in your society or in your bachelor's studies. Now, additionally, you can motivate a reader and instantly catch his attention that you may use a quote of famous leader. But remember, please, opportunity granted, don't put at the start of your essay, Abraham Lincoln saw, Mahatma Gandhi saw. This is not important information. We want to know, or the College of Admissions want to know about you, about your process, about your skills, about your communication skills in Mexico, specifically in your bachelor's studies and research options specifically, but know about the Abraham Lincoln. Now, in the part of body paragraph, it's so important that the essay need to divide the main body into 1, 2, or 3 paragraphs to make the structure more comprehensive. What you have to do on this point is give your reader a sound understanding your ideas. And for the conclusion part, that is the next, is then your essay need to restate your opinion and briefly summarize all the points from anybody in your conclusions. Now, Ramiro, I don't know if I have the co-host of this session. If no, please, you can give me. Now, opportunity grantees, I'm gonna share with you one example about the leadership essay when you can. Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Now you can summarize. Perfect. It's okay, Bob? Yes? Perfect. Now, this is an example about the leadership essay. Remember, you need to be focused on the requirements of the U.S. higher education required about your admission process. If you need to complete a leadership essay, sometimes the university provides you that the essays need to start with 600 words or 700 words or 800 words. But in your essay, you need to put who are you as a project manager, as a biology engineering, as a lawyer, but you need to indicate the problematic. There have been unique challenges in developing or intravascular or whatever problem you can resolve in your society. But you also need to indicate how can you develop this kind of problematic, like I collaborated with, I proposed to, and of course, I was able to use my product engineering experience or whatever thing that you can resolve your problematic. And of course, as a leader person, I had to involve two or different kind that helps to resolve these problematics. And of course, the conclusion at the end of your essay, you need to put my practice, leaderships, and communication skill prevent to help me to complete this kind of issue or problematic, specifically in my society, in my university, with my group of friends. And sometimes we think that the leadership skills is more for the public policies or administration public or social publics. But no, if you want to study a master with the STEAM area, that is science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, now you can express your leadership skills, your communication skills. And remember, this is so important to resolve a problematics in your school, in your university that you want to study. And this is so important for your professional development, not like a student, if not like a person. Ramiro, can you share again the presentation, please? Perfect. Next slide, please. And remember, these rules in your leadership essay. Specifically, remember, focus on your ideas in your head. We know that sometimes it could be difficult for students, but this is so important to start your leadership essay or your personal statement or your study objectives or your statement of purpose. Read about world leaders that inspire people that inspired you, but remember, don't put Abraham Lincoln saw, Mahatma Gandhi saw, Edith Melendez saw, because she's an accredited Education USA advisor, but remember, the College of Admissions want to know about you, about Mauricio, about Teresa, about Mariana, about Max, about Edgar, about all of you. Now, identify the rules that makes you a personality, specifically a leader. Remember, you are an opportunity grantee, an Education USA opportunity grantee. You are a leader, but I think that we need to have a little kind of time to find these soft skills, these communication skills, these leadership skills. For this, you have your Education USA advisor. You can send you an email whenever when you want. Now, start creating your draft, structure it, including an introduction, body paragraph, and of course, the conclusion, and a strong conclusion. And link every paragraph on a future of a successful leader. Remember, you need to be a talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique Education USA advisee or a student for a US higher education. And for me, it's everything. Now, let's continue. Thank you, Teresa. Now, let's continue with the diversity, equity, and inclusion essay with our Education USA advisor, Edith Melendez. Thank you so much.
I warned you, I was going to come back. I told you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about diversity, equity, and inclusion essays. Please, on the next slide, you can see that, well, DEI, it's something important. The colleges, institutions, higher education institutions want to have a diverse body of students. Why? Because they know the importance of having very different values and backgrounds together in the same social environment. Okay, so this social awareness is very important nowadays. Okay, so it is not only the opportunity for the institutions to know about different type of people, different type of backgrounds, and different type of cultures, things like that, but also it's a way for them to know or to ensure that they will have students that, if they have already worked in making their communities better, and if they have already done different contributions to the social environment where they grew up or where they were working or where they were studying, they know that's something that's going to be repeated in their own institution. So that's why they value a lot this type of, well, not this type, the student body when it's diverse, okay? So if we go to the next slide, this is going to help not only the institution, but also other students to know different perspectives. If you remember, during the personal statement, we were talking about intersectionality and how the intersectionality shapes the way that we perceive the world and the world perceives us. So now, when they put all of these different identities together in the same campus, in the same career, in the same department, that helps the institution to grow too. So that's why they value this a lot. Okay, so that's what is asked in this kind of essays. The diversity essays are the opportunity for you to talk or to say how you will enhance the student body with a different and unique perspective, identity, or background, okay? What you have done to this, okay? Something that you need to really know about these this type of essays, it's that the focus should be on how you and your personality and your in your past, how you have addressed and what you have done in order to avoid inequity, and what you have done to help to avoid institutional discrimination. They want to know about, obviously, it's part of where you come from, but most important is what you have done with this, okay? And that's something that is the focus of this kind of essays. We need to be careful about cliches. We need to be careful about how we understand diversity, okay? It is not only to talk about the marginalized group of people or movement or population, okay? It's not just that, okay? So it can cover many different aspects, and as I already mentioned, the most important is how you have committed yourself to improve the situation of these different types of circumstances. Next slide, please, Ramiro. Well, as I already mentioned, the most important is what you have done, okay? So the diversity essay needs to demonstrate your compassion for those suffering injustice, okay? So that doesn't mean that you were not part of them. Maybe you were, maybe you weren't. That's okay, because sometimes it happens that people come from privilege or from what other people can call privilege, because that depends also. And but you need to show in this kind of essays your passion and what you have done to help in this kind of situations. Again, it's going to be very important that you don't focus on the traumatizing experiences and the drama, things like that, okay? So yeah, that's part of it, but the outcome becomes the relevant part. Next slide, please. I want to address a little bit more about these tips, because I think they summarize the whole aspect of the diversity, equity, and inclusion essays. You need to know that institutions have, most of them, if not all of them, they have special departments dedicated to cover these kind of situations. They want to embrace the students' body. They want to know more, and they want to get a diverse population of students, because they are already working on it. Okay, so they have different departments, they have different resources for to help the institution understand how to work, how to develop different strategies to help and to make this world a better world for everyone. So you need to research, you need to learn about what your institution or the institution that you're applying to is doing, and then try to focus or try to identify how the things that you have done match with what they are already doing, okay? Or how will you enhance these kind of departments, or what you will provide, what will be your add to them, to the institution, and the general goals that they are trying to achieve, okay? It's gonna be very important that during your diversity essay, you state your outcomes and the lessons that you learned, okay? And they have to be connected with evidence. If you're saying, I'm very committed to this because of this, and I have done this, you can see that I help, that I create this group, that I enhance the department of I don't know, something in my own institution, that I am part of this specific group or this specific organization. Okay, so you have to mention also that part there. It's very important to avoid cliches, okay? We need to understand that, for example, if you mention that you notice that somebody was in need because they didn't have anything to eat, and that's when you committed to help people that needed, people from low income backgrounds, and that's why you want, and you know that you can enhance the department of financial aid, for example, in the institution, because you have been very close to people that need this kind of support. At the end, you're not saying anything, okay? You need to say what you have done, okay? And it is not only to mention that you have been part of in a regular situation. We need to see, or it's necessary that you show your passion in that essay. Something that is also very important, you have to stick yourself to the word limit. The longer the essay, it's the more probable that you can fall into being repetitive or into being into saying something that has already been said by someone else. Okay, so be careful on that. It's not about the length of an essay, it's about the content of the essay. So you need to be aware of that. Okay, so well, I don't know if any one of my colleague advisors want to add something into this. Okay, so we have just a few minutes to go to the breakout rooms, as we already mentioned at the very beginning. You're going to be in the breakout room that belongs to the advisor, the support advisor that you already have. So very soon you're going to get the invitation to go to the breakout room that you belong to, and we will answer your questions in there. Okay, so at the end, I don't think we're going to come back to the main session. So as soon as you finish, or Mabel.
Yes, I think we come back to the session just to close it up, and then we finish.
Okay, so then we're going to come back to the main session. Let's just wait for the invitation to the breakout room.
Okay. Falta Edith. ¿Ya se fue Edith? Edith.
Y se marchó.
Se marchó. No
Ya
sé
su
si...
barco le llamó libertad.
Chicas, pues es viernes, son las 8:11. Yo espero que por ahí venga. Tal vez no. Mariana, ¿está abierto algún breakout room? Edith, ¿sabes si Edith va a regresar?
Sí, va a regresar. Ya se cerraron todos los breakout rooms. Me imagino que están aprovechando sus últimos 60 segunditos que les quedaban. Ya están regresando.
Ah, ok, perfecto.
Sí.
Muy bien, chicos. Pues nada más. Ah, ya regresó Edith. Nada más, ya no estoy hablando inglés. Bueno, no importa. Con esto concluimos el taller de ensayos. El equipo de ensayos, Alejandro, Ramiro, Edith y yo, les agradecemos mucho su participación en estas sesiones. Muchas gracias al equipo de webinars, Mariana, Ani, Adriana, por poner todo esto en organizar todo esto y apoyarnos con los breakout rooms. Nada más quería despedirnos, que nos regalaran una foto y saber si tienen alguna pregunta final. Es momento de hacerla. Y si no, ya. Pero mientras, si pueden prender sus camaritas para una foto final, porque esto lo reportamos a Washington, se los agradeceríamos mucho.
Una pregunta rápida, por favor. Para repasar, bueno, a mí me gustaría repasar todos estos videos que vimos para si me faltó algo, si me pasó algo. Las ligas, ¿dónde las podría consultar para revisar todas estas grabaciones?
Muy bien, Mauricio. Aprovechando que todos prendieron su cámara, tomamos la foto y ahorita te contesto antes de que alguien se me vaya o se corte la conexión. ¿Listos? 1, 2, 3. Déjenme ver si la saqué bien. Okay.
Yo también tomé una,
Perfecto, muy bien. Mauricio, muy buena pregunta. Van a estar en el Classroom, las grabaciones van a estar disponibles en el Classroom y de igual manera las vamos a estar compartiendo. Yo les debo la grabación de la sesión que impartí el miércoles y el material que utilicé el miércoles. Y yo creo que se los voy a enviar en un correo junto con la grabación de esta sesión y los materiales que se usaron o si hay algo más que enviar. Pero van a estar tanto en el Classroom y yo se los voy a hacer llegar por correo.
Gracias, Mabel. Gracias a todos.
Muy bien. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? ¿Ya no hay dudas?
Yo rápidamente, Mabe, más triste, asesor. En mi breakup room tenía a Luis Fernando, solo que en nuestra lista de Excel está con Héctor. ¿Va a ser mío o va a ser de Héctor?
No, él va a estar trabajando con Héctor, porque Héctor es su asesor principal.
Es Magali.
Es Magali. Ah, no, entonces también vas a estar trabajando con Héctor. Sí.
Yo tengo
Sí,
el
va a
mismo
estar
caso con Daniel.
Va a estar trabajando con Héctor. Quienes estén trabajando con Héctor, pues Héctor se pondrá en contacto con ustedes. Pero la información básicamente es la misma y las fechas límites son las mismas. ¿Vale?
Y también van a poder encontrar esta grabación en YouTube.
Ujú.
Nos vemos mañana.
Bien. Bien. Ah, pues sí, mañana, por favor, nos vemos en la sesión de ensayos a las 10 de la mañana. Va a ser una sesión más rápida, mucho más
¿Debes?
dinámica. Que diga, de CVs, perdón, es un viernes, son las 8:14 de la noche. Mañana la sesión de CVs va a ser una sesión más rápida, más dinámica, e igual se va a grabar, pero no vamos a poder grabar, vamos a trabajar mucho en breakout rooms y no se van a grabar los breakout rooms. Entonces, los breakout rooms van a ser lo más valioso de las sesiones. Por favor, asistan. Daniel, dime.
Una pregunta rápida, Mabel. Mencionaste unas fechas límites, pero creo que no sé cuáles en específico.
En su calendario deben de estar, en el calendario de opportunities están incluidas las de los ensayos y las sesiones, pero si no, también les mando a todos en el correo con las grabaciones las fechas límites. Yo creo que se los mando mañana, terminando la sesión de CVs. Para los ensayos todavía falta, van a enviar su primer draft como a finales de junio y lo más pronto para la siguiente semana van a enviar su primer draft de CV.
Ok, muchas gracias.
De nada. Va, muy bien. Pues que estén muy bien y que tengan bonita noche. Bye.
Gracias.
Gracias, bye.